This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. You have to be literally insane at this point in the year 2023 to actually think that all of us who are screaming from the rooftops and have been screaming since before the planned pandemic occurred about the depopulation agenda, if anyone out there is not understanding yet, then you might as well look yourself in the mirror, check the pulse on your wrist, and realize that if there is a pulse, that you are brain dead. Because these people are not only openly admitting to depopulation and wanting to depopulate, from the Georgia Guidestones telling us flat out in the open that they want to do it, to all of these people who are supposedly in power, even though they weren't elected, to telling us, to even the vice president, herself, telling us just now that they want to depopulate. Listen for yourself.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water. When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population,
Oh, so what are people going to say? That was a slip of the tongue? Is that what they're going to say? That it's a slip of the tongue? You know, all of these things that have happened where everybody's life was just freely flowing over the last 40 years, with the exception of some events that have occurred here and there, like the 11th of September. But people's lives were not bothered by the government as they are now. I mean, yes, you pay taxes. Yes, there were some things that occurred. But literally now, every single day, people are angry. Why are they angry? Because the government overreached, because the government is affecting our day-to-day income by inflation, by telling us what we can and can't say, by trying to take our guns, by telling us that we suddenly don't need to care about America first, that we need to care about other countries first. They're telling us that we need to castrate children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And nobody's suspicious of all of these people who have their hands in all of these things that are going on over and over and over again, from the climate to the outbreak. They're all supposed to be separate things, right? But Bill Gates and all of them have their hand in it, and they're all telling you that they want to depopulate. Let's take a look at some clips from Bill telling us over and over and over again how the goal is to depopulate and how he's getting very, very angry. I mean, very, very frustrated with the fact that we weren't.
What would you like to see as your legacy in 10, 15 years?
Of the new work?
Of the new work,
yeah.
Of your new function.
Well, I set very ambitious goals because I'm quite optimistic. If you look at, say, the 20 diseases that our global health program goes after, I'd hope that within 15 years, over half of those, we could have had a very dramatic impact. Some of them will prove to be harder than others. For example, AIDS, we will have made an improvement, but not the dramatic improvement probably in that time frame. Malaria, perhaps, and a number of the other ones, we have things in the pipeline. So, you know, huge change in the mortality rates in developing countries, which then has this effect of reducing population growth. That's this big benefit that then makes everything like education and nutrition a lot easier. So I have very high expectations there. And we actually use these dashboards internally at the foundation to make everything be quite numeric. You know, we're trying to be rigorous about that and even share those so that people can see, oh, you fell short of what you had in mind. And then we get to explain if we have any lessons that might be learnable from other foundations. So I think there's some things about how we go about things that I hope those learnings can have an impact. There's the specific work in the different divisions, health, development, and the U.S. education work. That in 15 years, boy, by then we will have spent a lot of money. At $3 billion a year, 15 years, that's adds up. And for that, people should have a very high expectation of what we can do.
Well, over this decade, we believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. We could cut the number of children who die every year from about 9 million to half of that if we have success on it. And the benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth.
There are pockets and significant pockets of the country where vaccines aren't happening because of those, the anti-vaxxers or whatever you want to call them, who have made significant headway in trying to convince parents they shouldn't vaccinate children. I was just looking at new data today from Orange County, California, with more than a few schools showing between 40 and 60% children not vaccinated.
Those are the things that I push forward. I wouldn't say I get angry, but I'm really impatient that we're not moving as fast as I'd like.
The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Oh, right. And for anyone out there that's wondering, because I know there's some youngsters out there about who Ted Turner is. Well, Ted Turner happens to be the person who started CNN, the fakest news network on the planet. And he openly talked about how we need to depopulate to the point where 1 child per household is the goal. Right, kind of like China, kind of like I've been saying for years, how the whole blueprint is in China. You know, how they have people locked up in their homes, not allowed to leave, with military outside their doors. Yeah, here's Ted Turner talking about the population.
Stabilize the population. When I was born,
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
Mr. Turner, I was wondering if you think it's a good idea to reduce 90% of the population because we are being overpopulated by a lot of... 90%. 80? Prince Philip said 80, sir. I go with 85.
I think 2 billion is about right.
Right, me too. Thank you.
One-child family.
Exactly. One-child policy.
So none of this is a slip of the tongue. All of these people are liberal. Bill Gates, right? Always talking about being a liberal, voting Democrat, supporting these people. All these people are side by side, hand in hand, talking about depopulating. So what do you think they want to depopulate? Then they come out and tell you that there's a problem with carbon, right? Well, the carbon that they want to eliminate is us, the people. They tell you it. So what more do people need to hear to understand this? But the problem is that the dumbed down society has been empowered. The celebrities that have been pushed down people's throats are the ones influencing the behavior. Thus, we have a society of people that literally can listen to the vice president talking about depopulating the world, and they still look at it, listen, and it goes in one ear, out the other, like a fart in the wind. They can't even process the words coming out of these people's mouths that they still trust, that they still believe. Bill Gates wants to depopulate. He said it himself. There's no misinformation there. What does Bill Gates want you to do as well? Well, he wants you to take a magic potion. He wants everyone to take magic potions. What else does Bill want to do? He wants to block the sun. That's right. I just covered it recently. Bill wants to block the sun as well. So how convenient. He wants to do all these things and then tells us that he wants to depopulate, that his top goal is to do all of these things and depopulate at the same time. What more does it take, or is it going to take, for people out there to realize how wicked these things are that are in power? Take their power away from them. Stop participating in this fake government. This government is not in power via election. They've been placed there. It's been compromised. The Republicans have been compromised. The Democrats have been compromised. And then all of these people who are supposed to be rich philanthropists, who all have connections to secret societies, whether it's Skull and Bones, whether it's the secret societies at Stanford, all the Ivy League schools, whatever secret society is, or even if it's just basic Freemasonry, all of them supposedly, and all the people at NATO and the WHO, the World Health Organization, none of them elected have the authority over all of our lives. Is anyone aware of the authority that the WHO has over our lives? What they can and can't do, how quickly they can shut things down. And then on top of all these things that they say, people look at how they're acting and they still support it. That's how brain dead they are. They're like, I'm still a Democrat because it's better than being a Republican. And the Republicans go, I'll never be a liberal. How about we just stop the facade here and pretending like this is a functioning government of Republicans and Democrats? Oh, every day the Republicans bring up all the issues going on in the world. Do they do anything about it? Does the House or the Senate do anything? No, they don't. So is that a functioning government? These people are putting on a show every day while a massive controlled demolition is occurring. Remember the other massive controlled demolition that occurred? Nobody talks about that anymore, about 22 years ago. Well, now you're seeing a massive controlled demolition from within psychologically. The government is imploding on purpose. The House, the Senate, Roe v. Wade, all these things are being done by design to implode it. But they can come on TV and people still don't see that they're doing this on purpose. They're telling you we want to depopulate. For those of you who are teens or youngsters or stumble upon this channel and you're laughing and you don't have a clue, do you know what depopulate means? Because I think there are people out there that don't even know what that means, right? Depopulate means taking the number of the population and reducing it, which, it might sound like a fancy term to some people out there who have, crayons for brains. It means killing people. Because the only way you can depopulate is by eliminating people. So you have people who are we have the vice president of the United States talking about depopulating. You have Bill, who's ahead of what? Well, nobody knows what the bill's ahead of. Is he in charge of anything? We don't know. He's just rolled out for the outbreak that just occurred. He's rolled out for the climate agenda. He's rolled out to tell us that we shouldn't eat meat anymore. He's rolled out, like I covered a couple weeks ago or days ago, pushing the electric vehicles. He's rolling out, pushing vehicles where there's driverless cars, where humans can't control the vehicle. Who elected him? No one. Who elected Ted Turner? No one. Oh, they're rich. Well, it's about more than being rich because they're all rooted and connected to each other. Did Bill Gates really come up with Microsoft? Of course not. Who's Bill Gates related to? Oh, his father, right? Who's his father? His father's on the board of Planned Parenthood. Must be a quinky dink, right? And now Bill has just gone away from computers, we're all supposed to believe, and he cares about magic potions and he cares about the sun and all this. Oh, coincidentally, he cares a lot about nanotechnology. Anyone connecting the dots? Is anyone out there? What more do you need to say here? I mean, if Biden comes on TV or Trump comes on TV, depending on which side you're on, right? Really, it's the liberals. They can't listen to a word that these people are saying and actually believe what they're saying. They just start laughing about it. Everything's a big joke. They're like, that's not what they mean. They'll come on TV, they'll be like, we want to kill all of you. And we're going to. And we've already begun the process a few years ago, if you remember what happened. Those people would listen and they go, a personality on Joe Biden here. What a personality. Come on, I love him. That's great. That's great. Has anyone seen my phone? I have to take a picture of my dinner and upload it on Facebook so everyone can see, even though nobody cares. Then I'm going to upload a picture of my fingernails after I paint them and put them on Instagram. Then I'm going to take a dump and I'm going to video record and upload it for no reason whatsoever because I'm just taking pictures of things around me and uploading it even though nobody wants to see it. Just like the people out there who tweet all the time their opinions on stuff, get 0 hearts and 0 comments and have 0 followers. Don't seem to realize that nobody cares, right? But that's the society they've created. Narcissists. They think people care. They think this. They think that. They don't see what's actually occurring right now. The destruction of the world by these demons who openly come on television and tell you they want to depopulate. But nobody connects the dots, right? Bill tells you he wants to. Ted Turner tells you. The Clintons have told you. The Georgia Guidestones have told you. And then you even heard Ted Turner talk about 1 child per household. Well, why do you think the government's so hell-bent on Planned Parenthood? Do you think they care about a woman's rights? They couldn't care less about anyone's rights. Gay, straight, black, white, Latino, Chinese, Asian, whatever. They don't care. It's about depopulation. It's always been. And they tell you this. They're not beating around the bush. They're not saying mixed. There's no mixed words here. If you speak the English language, depopulate would mean to kill off the population. Having these people who are in control of the news networks, now Ted Turner claims to have sold it to Warner Brothers, same thing. What's the difference? They all are working together in this communist regime. They're pretty much saying we want to be like China. So after this, it's going to be what? 1 child per household because of carbon emissions. Oh, kind of like China, right? You see how the climate change, the climate agenda is tied into all of this? It's an illusion. It's a boogeyman that they've created. They manipulate the weather with chemtrails. They have been for a long time. We've all seen it. We all feel it on a day-to-day basis. Most people out there don't realize that. They think that those are clouds when the sky is just gray. Remember what real clouds look like? Most people don't even know. They can't tell the difference. They look at this, they're like, oh, climate change is real though. You know, it's hot in Texas this year. Oh yeah, well, it's always hot, but they have the ability. I mean, if you look into all the patents and the things they have, you look at Operation Popeye, they have the ability to create rain. So why don't we end all the droughts then? Why are rivers and these things drying up? Well, we don't ask actual questions that make sense that should be answered because it's a conspiracy. That's why they constantly say, you can't control the weather. Oh, you can control it. We have controlled it before. But you see, they don't want you to know that they can do that anymore because they're using the weather to their advantage. So they can manipulate the weather and tell us that it's because of us and we need to have less children and we need to depopulate because the climate's being affected, thus we're all going to die. And they're just going to keep killing us off and taking things away from us and locking us in our homes because that's part of the climate agenda. That was part of what just happened with the outbreak. Don't leave your home, distance from other people, lock yourself inside. And people are like, well, it's because of, the atmosphere out there. No, it's called enslavement. It's modern day enslavement, and it's all psychological. They don't need to just come down our roads with tanks. They're using mind control to convince people to enslave themselves while telling you they want to kill you. Yet nobody sees it, right? The climate agenda, the greatest scam that's probably ever been created. I mean, I can't even necessarily say that because we just had one of the greatest scams ever created. Well, pretty much everything on the news is the greatest scam ever created that people buy into. Yet people buy into it. Why? Because these people tell them. Like, trust the science. There's no science that proves any of this at all. The only science I know that can prove anything is that boys have penises and they're males and girls have vaginas, right? And we know the DNA. We've seen all these forensic shows. But that's the science they ignore, right? They tell us it's science that it's climate change because it's hot out. Oh, right. Well, what about that crap in the sky and the sun shielding? Oh, the science says that's fine. Oh, science doesn't say that we need the sun to grow food? Oh, okay. That must be a new science, right? That must be some type of gay science, I guess. Science that rides the highway of Hershey. I don't know. Or we could just call it what it really is. It's utter insanity. So no worries, folks. These people will come out and openly tell you they want to depopulate over and over. And people will just go, that's not what they mean. It's a slip of the tongue. Well, I guess it'll take at least 1,000 times, you would assume, for them to say it, for people to get it, right? No. They can say it 1 trillion times. They can come out and say, we want to kill you. Have a nice death. And these people will still nod, and they'll go, I'm going to vote for them, even though their vote doesn't count. I support them, because at least they care about my feelings. No, they don't care about your feelings. They're manipulating you by skin color, by gender, by everything. They don't give a crap about any of us. And they want us silenced. That's why I'm where I am. That's why you don't see the 500,000 subs and plus many, many others that I've had. They're silencing truth. They're allowing people to stay trapped in the left and right. Instead of us reuniting. I was going to say uniting, but people need to reunite and go after these people and stop them from doing this because our future generations depend on the non-existence of these people. But unfortunately, nothing will ever happen, because people will still stay stuck in the left and right. That's why it's so important for them to have talking heads who promote Republican or promote Democrat, because it keeps people trapped and divided and at each other's throats instead of at all of their throats, collectively, Republican and Democrat, who all want to depopulate us. All of them. All of them. What a shame, what a sham, and what a joke of a world we live in. I thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless all of you and your families.